Hey everyone, welcome to another episode from Ampro Engineering. I just picked something up on eBay and I'm really excited about this. This is the Thunder Tiger Toyota Hilux. Now this immediately caught my eye because I happen to be a big fan of this body style Toyota pickup, partly because I own one, another part because I just genuinely like it. But I was also looking for something a little bit smaller that I could take away on family outings, that it's a little easier to stuff into the car instead of something much larger. This was used, it did come in the original box. And used, ready to run, this thing set me back $100, which is less, I think, than half the price of the original. It's in good shape. It's a little dirty, but it's mostly me because I've been driving this quite a lot at the office at lunch. But it did come with, I'll show you real fast. It does have the decal sheet, some little bits of stuff for the radio, some kind of a DVD going over the instructions possibly. This radio balance charger. I don't know if that came with the actual thing. Maybe it did. And oh yeah, it's the charger. Yeah, there we go. And the AC adapter and the charger. And it did come with the battery right here. I'm actually surprised it's lithium ion, which is kind of cool. Like I said, I have driven the truck and I find it to be quite nice to drive. It performs well enough for what it is, especially given what I paid, and even especially given for what it would regularly cost. The radio, it works, you know, it's not particularly full function, but it has enough of what you need. It has a little bit of a cheap feel, but I'm not going to complain about it because, again, it is fully operational. The truck body is, well, it's, you know, not a Tamiya. What can I say? It's not molded particularly well. It's definitely designed so that it can be popped off of the vacuum form mold very easily, but it has enough detail to get the point across of what the truck is, and it does have a set of roll bar lights which you can install LEDs in. The previous owner did drill some holes here, but don't worry, we've got a solution for that. It does say Toyota at the rear. I also wanted to note that the truck does have ball bearings, and the chassis, I would say, it has a very, I don't want to say cheap, but a very light feel to it. It is definitely a very light vehicle. It doesn't have much mass, but it definitely has a lot of flexibility. Now these are friction shocks, which fooled me because I actually thought that they were oil-filled shocks, but you know, they're not. You are going to get a considerable amount of bump steer, but you know, that doesn't really bother me. I have another major plan for this vehicle. I had no intention of keeping this shell on it, but while it has been on it, it's been, you know, operational enough. This is the ESC that many of you have seen in the Bandit project. It appears to be peeling up. We'll have to fix that. I don't know if this vehicle has bearings or not. Again, I've barely touched the thing. Oh, I love how manufacturers are starting to do these little extra hubs. I think that's awesome. There are quite a number of videos on this car, so I'm not going to waste everybody's time on going over what's already been gone over. This little battery does fit on this metal plate, and it's large enough to accept a much, much larger battery. We'll turn the vehicle on. Again, nothing too, oops. Oh, there it goes. Nothing too spectacular on the radio. Car switch is right here. And, you know, it's all there. You can see quite a lot of bump steer here. With the suspension fully drooped, it's definitely turning to the left. And fully compressed, you're going to make a right turn. Round about the middle of the suspension travel, it seems to be fine. I'm actually very surprised about this because when I saw this truck, I thought it was brilliant. I wanted to get one. And then I saw the Team Associated version and thought to myself, oh man, maybe I'll get that. And then when I looked at the chassis, they're the same. Now, Thunder Tiger and Team Associated are, I don't want to say the same company. I don't entirely know the ins and outs here. I don't know if Thunder Tiger owns Associated or if they're just some kind of partnership. But the CR12 Associated rock crawler is this chassis. The electronics appear to be slightly different. I think the ESC actually looks different depending on what photos I've looked at. The shocks are blue instead of black. What's funny is that the tires, according to the images, look exactly the same, minus where it says Thunder Tiger. The Associated ones do not say Thunder Tiger. I will be taking this vehicle out in a couple of weeks to a crawl with some of my friends. This I'm going to lend out to one of my buddies who doesn't have one of these. And I think that temporarily, at least for the time being, this is going to be a fantastic loaner because it does seem to be durable enough to take a considerable amount of abuse. But again, keeping this body shell on it is not my ultimate goal. But for the time being, I'm quite impressed with it. And I'm very sorry for this very quick review here. I had no intention of doing a review of this vehicle, but I wanted to go over this car as kind of a starting point for how you're going to see it next.
He has good shoes on.
Anybody?
Wow, look at that little tree. That little tree, look how many cones.
He's right past me.
Up. Not yet.
This truck's doing really well.
Yeah. Very cool. No, my friend did.
Sweet. That's good footage right there. So that run was on New Year's Day. In fact, I don't know if you've seen one of my earlier videos. A lot of that footage was pulled from an earlier video that I posted a few days ago. But I had this thing out on that trail around 4 hours. The truck was incredibly well planted. I don't believe it even rolled over a single time. Granted, this was my brother-in-law driving it. He was being quite cautious with my stuff, but he was also enjoying himself quite a lot. The tires seem to have reasonable grip. You know, they're not hard. They're not soft either. They're, I would say, acceptable. But who wants to buy this truck? Is this truck right for the hardcore crawler? And the answer is no. This is not a hardcore crawler. So maybe it's right for the hardcore scaler. And again, the answer is no. It is not really a scaler. It's not a crawler. It's not a trail truck. It's nothing specific. What it is a truck that's good at a number of things. So if there's somebody out there, especially new to the hobby, and I'm thinking more in the 8 to 14-year age range, I think this truck is perfect. It's inexpensive. It's relatively competent. I found no issues with it at all, given what we were putting this thing through. But even for adults, I think this truck is very good for someone who, like me, wants to go somewhere, has limited room, and just wants to throw this in whatever little nook that they have. They do make smaller scalers out there, or smaller crawlers out there, but then you're dealing with something that's a lot smaller, so the terrain has to be a little bit smaller as well. I think this is capable of withstanding quite a lot of terrain. In fact, significantly more than something like the WPL would be able to traverse, but our price points are very different. You're looking at about $50 for one of these. Add another $50 to just make it better. But at the end of the day, this is going to be significantly more robust. And the fact that it does have this polycarbonate body means that severe tumbles aren't going to bother this truck at all. My only concern is parts availability. I still really haven't seen much available for this, but given the fact that Associated is usually very good about their parts distribution, I'm not too familiar about Thunder Tiger. I don't know how they usually do things. And I'm also curious what kind of upgrades we're going to find on these trucks. So much for watching. If you have any concerns, comments, criticisms about this car, please post below. I'm very curious to know what people's thoughts are. I haven't seen many aftermarket parts or hop-ups for this vehicle, so I'm wondering what kind of following it's going to get. It seems to be pretty popular, and I can see why. The price point's great, the size is quite good, and it seems to be plenty capable for what it is. So please let me know your thoughts, and I look forward to going over a couple of products I've designed for this car, as well as the future project that it's going to be a part of. Anyway, folks, thank you all so much, and we'll see you next time.